Hello, everyone. Welcome to another session in ABAP and CAP Mondays of DevToberfest. Today's session is Understand the Clean Core Extensibility Options for Cloud ERP. Our guest speakers are Karin and Andre Fisher. You can post your questions in the chat and it will be addressed there. So before we start, let me remind you to check the DevToberfest page in the SAP community to know about various activities to gain points. So with that, welcome Karin and Andre, and over to you guys.
Thank you, Shilpa, for the introduction, and also welcome from our side for the next DevToberfest session by Subticket. So I'm here together as already introduced with my colleague Andre Fischer, and we are both from the ABAP Platform Product Management team. And delighted to help you understand the various clean core extensibility options offered for SAP S/4HANA Cloud, our Cloud ERP. So here we can see what's it on the agenda of this session. So first we'll talk about the clean core extensibility model in the cloud, in the public cloud and in general. Then we'll go over the ABAP Cloud development models, what it means for ABAP developers and what it comprises. And then we will go over the different extensibility options, talking about key user, on-stack developer, and side-by-side technology extensibility. And we'll have a wrap up. Maybe before we start, we'll just have a quick definition of what's keeping the core clean means. So a clean core is a system that is close to the standard as possible. So it's always a question of avoiding extensions whenever possible. That means always first checking what's is provided by the standard solutions. And while running cloud compliant extensions and integrations, of course. So Clean Core has different dimensions. Beside extensibility, we have the data, landscape, business processes, and also operations. So a Clean Core allows you to be more agile by quickly adapting your system to changes required by changing according to changing business needs and business requirement, and also adopt new capability very easily and at a high speed, helping you to really innovate in your business. To achieve that in regards to clean core extensions, and extensions is mentioned. It's characterized as clean when it doesn't break any upgrades, and when any upgrades also doesn't break the extensions. And to achieve that, we need to have a clear separation between the SAP standard code and the custom code. And in the public cloud, we don't have any customer specific projects, so it's really important that we regularly deliver innovations there. So there are regular system updates and upgrades, and it's important that the extensions, the custom code that run on top of our platforms and solutions is stable. And for that, we have a clear new rule here that only public SAP APIs and extension points are allowed to build custom codes. And here on the screen, we can see then the extensibility patterns here. The first one is extending an SAP application like this, and this is needed for really tightly coupled extensions, really tied to with integration into the SAP app. And here we use the public, so-called the release extension points. Another scenario here is to build new applications directly on the stack, so on the SAP S/4HANA Cloud stack, by using local APIs, which are released for the purpose, and also various SQL trends. And here we can build really full-fledged applications on top of the stack directly, like we are used to in on-premise. And also for some scenario, we can even enable the we can create some remote APIs in order to access the stack for side-by-side extensions, so extensions that are not directly built on top of the stack. And here we are. So, and we can also, for decoupled applications, use go on the SAP BTP platform and use the full BTP portfolio to build extension there, and also have access to the Cloud ERP using the SAP remote APIs, but also the custom remote API. And it's important to mention that the patterns also most of the time works hand in hand, so that in project we need a bit of the different scenario depending on what we want to achieve. No? So having said that, now on the screen you can see our extensibility portfolio, so the different options with the technologies available on the different stacks. So left, we have the possibility to develop extensions directly on the SAP S/4HANA Cloud. And here we have the so-called key user extensibility in the area of low-code, no-code tools. And we have the developer extensibilities with a full-blown in the ABAP development tools using the ABAP Cloud development models. So this is a ProCode tool, of course. It's our IDE, integrated development environment, that we use here to develop. So on the right, on the right-hand side, we have the SAP BTP, where we also have the possibility on the low-code, no-code area with tools like SAP Build Apps, SAP Build Processing automation, and process integrations, and SAP Build Work Zone to build also applications, and also going in the area of collaboration. So it's really a lot is provided there. And for the ProCode, we have SAP Build Code and SAP Build BTP ABAP environment for development. And here we have two main programming models, the SAP Cloud Application Programming Model for Java, Node.js, and JavaScript development, and the ABAP Cloud for ABAP-based development on the stack. So as you can see, the portfolio is quite wide, and also here it's mostly a combination of the different possibility offered, whether the application is tightly coupled and must be developed directly on the Cloud ERP stack, or whether it is decoupled and we also want to fully leverage the capability and the advanced services that are provided on the BTP platform, as well as the skills of the working team. And here we have different okay, before we go ahead, it's also important to mention that this programming model is available as well on-premise and in the private cloud. And there we also have, in addition, the classic extensibility options that has been used so far with full flexibilities going from accessing all SAP objects as well as even modifying such objects. But of course, we strongly recommend the Cloud ERP, the Cloud Extensibility model, so that our customers and partners can also benefit from smooth system upgrades with less effort regarding functional testing and so on. So if we want to just go ahead and just have again have a look at the characteristic, the main characteristic of the different extensions, to just give also a high-level guidance on whether applications should be performed on stack or side by side. So for on-stack extensibility, this is ideal and a best fit when the extension is really close, has a close integration with the Cloud ERP. For example, when the requirement is there for transactional consistency, so when the custom code must be performed in the same logical unit of work as the same as the SAP standard code, because custom data should only be created when SAP data is created. So here it requires really a high level of transactional consistency, and the on-stack options is the best fit here. Also, maybe when we want to do specific codes in order to enable development side by side. No? So custom integration scenarios. So on the stack, building a part of the solution in order to access it remotely from the SAP BTP platform. Also, when it comes to reading high data volumes and also complex, involving complex queries and joins, it's recommended to work on the stack similar if there are a lot of round trips that might be needed because there's too much access and changes to the data. Then that's a kind of characteristics that fits for on-stack development. And for side-by-side, then we have the other way around application that can be really decoupled. For example, external facing applications where the end user doesn't have an end user in the Cloud ERP, so it's not required. And here we can also see that when we want to benefit from an independent infrastructure, so the infrastructure is decoupled, and also the operations, and we have a higher level of scalability and the operations. So when we want to benefit from all the cloud advantages, then here side by side on the SAP BTP platform is the best fit. And also we have just a standalone full-fledged business process or applications we want to buy from to build from scratch. So, and yeah. So these are kind of aspects, and also, of course, the skill sets of the development teams plays an important role here when you want to leverage Java, ABAP, and other skills in your team in the same project or in different projects. We provide more guidance and information in our ABAP extensibility guides, which is linked below. So we already mentioned that in on-premise, the Cloud ERP model, extensibility model, is also available. So it is available in the private cloud and on-premise. But in addition, we have, of course, the classic ABAP development. So here, in order to support partners and customers to build also clean core compliant or clean extensions, we've introduced the 3-tier extensibility model. And as you can see on the screen, the 3 tiers consist of tier 1. Tier 1 is represents here all development, clean core development done with all the options I described before. So talking about ABAP Cloud using sub-build code and all the low-code, no-code tools on SAP BTP or directly ABAP Cloud on stack. Then we have introduced the tier 2. So tier 2 is a tier where you can mitigate missing released SAP APIs by enabling classic APIs for the cloud use. So for the use in tier 1. And tier 3 is the tier where we have all custom development made with the classic ABAP extensibility model. So here it's all about stepwise transformation to the cloud, helping you to investigate which custom code should be retired because no longer used, or because maybe standard solution is provided, or how to see to adapt, renovate, and innovate your code going in the direction of tier 1. So making your code cloud ready and life cycle, improve the life cycle and upgrade stability here for your custom code. We have some deep dive sessions on that at Devtoberfest, and we strongly recommend you have a look at that to really learn a lot on how to deal with your custom code and going in the direction of clean core. So ABAP Cloud have been mentioned a lot so far. And already it's the ABAP development model we offer to build, to support our customers and partner in building cloud-ready business apps, services, and extensions that are clean core, clean by definition. So it's really important to mention that when working with ABAP Cloud, all applications built with these development models are clean by definitions. So in ABAP Cloud offers offers a set on technologies, tools, development models, and programming models, and methodologies to support you build efficiently your applications. So on the screen, we have the high-level abstraction models, giving you an idea of the main technologies involved here. So at the bottom, we have the SAP HANA database where the data lies, and here we have SQL and SQL scripts, which the SQL script can help also fully leverage the native functionality of the HANA database platform. On top of that, we have the domain-specific logic, which is implemented mainly with the ABAP language and the ABAP core data services. So CDS, our data modeling infrastructure for building advanced data models on top of on top of the SAP HANA platform. And the level, just on top of it, we have the domain-specific data models. So, for example, we can also have for reportings or other purposes, we have CDS entities that can be used to define queries and so on. In the transactional world, we have business objects built with the ABAP RESTful application programming model. And in the for analytical scenarios, we can also use CDS to build CDS analytical queries. So here we are in the middle. This is the domain-specific implementation. And on top of it, we have the UI services. This is the new way how we define services or data services in the ABAP Cloud area, but not just all data services, but other services like the inner SAP information access protocol-based services, which allows a direct data access on the SAP HANA database. And on top of that, we have done the consumer. We can build Fiori, transactional and analytical applications, but also all sorts of also reporting apps. So this is at the core the kind of the programming models for analytical and transactional scenario, but also for integration scenario. So we can also build integration scenario with ABAP Cloud, by exposing the data and the functionalities using all different services and also using business event for loosely coupled integration scenario. Of course, the ABAP stack can also play the role of service consumer, so we can also consume different protocols, different protocols here, or data, HTTP, but also, of course, a business event. To surround the development models, we have reuse services and also such as the application workflow and so the workflow services, application log, number range, and many other services which are there to support developers in reducing their effort, improve the developer productivity, and at the same time, so reducing the total cost of development. When building application with ABAP Cloud, of course, we have enterprise-grade applications with built-in qualities such as cloud readiness and scalability, extensibility, and so on. And we have here a Git-based lifecycle management and also different tools for the development, where the ABAP development tools is our standard IDE for all ABAP-based development, but we also have the Business Application Studio for UI-based developments and key users and monitoring tools. So this is kind of giving you an idea of the main technologies involved here. And if we want to map it to scenarios to be more concrete, so in the Fiori area, we can build transactional and analytical applications based on CDS view entities for all the analytical world, but also other non-transactional applications. And for transactional applications, such Fiori applications are built on top of the RAP business objects. Process integrations, we have OData service exposure, so web APIs, which can be used for machine-to-machine communications, but also be exposed and consumed by third-party APIs. And as mentioned, also, of course, we can also consume OData services and other protocol in the case of OData services by using an OData consumption model. So RAP business objects, we have also RAP business object interfaces. This is the way how we at SAP provide stable interfaces to our business objects, and it plays an important role in the on-stack developer extensibility, as this is the new way how to integrate your custom apps with standard ABAP applications by using RAP BO interfaces, for example, instead of BAPIs and so on. So whenever a new application, you will find also such released RAP business object interfaces, and you can consume them directly using the entity manipulation language within an application that is built with RAP or also outside of RAP. So it gives also the possibility to consume such BO directly via APIs and not just by using OData services. We have business events. So business events can be defined also in the ABAP RESTful application programming model and exposed. And they can be consumed externally by using over the SAP event mesh on SAP BTP. They can also be, of course, consumed locally. And we have also the possibility to consume, of course, external events now, also using an event consumption model. And here, as already mentioned, we use the SAP event mesh for the purpose here. So we have local events, and we have also a background processing framework, which give us the possibility in application now to also triggered asynchronous processing steps here in the background. In the area of Fiori, of the Fiori Launchpad, we are planning also to integrate the ABAP push channels. So this is the implementation of the WebSocket in the ABAP platform, and also sub-Fiori notifications. We're planning to support this, and enterprise search is also here part of the ABAP Cloud, and it's possible to use it in the Fiori Launchpad for example, Googleized search across multiple RAP BOs. And for the purpose here, we use a CDS construct to model, to define the service model. And out of that, we have some search agents that are generated and so on. So everything, as you can see, also the power of the ABAP Core Data Services here. So in the analytical area and also in the area of data integrations, we have different scenarios supported here, whether to build analytical queries, which can be then also used for Fiori-based multi-dimensional reporting, but also in the SAP Analytical Clouds to build queries. And we also have SQL services for data integration scenarios, and also for exposure and consumption via ODBC-based clients. So I hand over to you, André.
Yeah, so I'm first unmuting myself. Okay, yeah. Thanks. So let's continue. So the topic is key user extensibility. So if we look at the picture that Karine has shown to you, the key user extensibility is something that is on stack and in the app. So we are running here, it's not side by side. So it's we are using here low-code tools. And that allows us to create an extensions without the need to have any coding skills. So therefore we use this term key user, though it can also be a developer that uses this tool, just if he or she doesn't want to build something with coding, but would just like to leverage those tools. So the challenge is usually that that the business departments wants to build something, right? And maybe they do not want to wait for a developer to show up. And there the key user tools can help them so they can build something on their own without the need to have a developer for that. So if we look at what you can do with it, the developer with developer extensibility can do more. So that's on the right-hand side, this feature richness. And it's also, but on the other hand, that comes with a price tag. So the task that has to be fulfilled is more complex. Whereas the key user tools are for easy scenarios, but therefore the task complexity is also very low. So, and therefore that's the benefit of those tools. And what can we have with those key user tools? There are different things you can do. So for example, you can create so-called custom CDS views on top of existing CDS views. Or you can even build so-called custom business objects. So these are then tables with a CDS view and the runtime that allows you to write data back on stack. Custom business logics. Here you can, for example, implement bodies. And what I will now show in some screenshots is the possibility that's the easiest or more obvious one is how you can create UI adaptations at runtime and at the same time creating your own fields for that. So if we start such an app and that works, by the way, also in on-premise or private cloud system, not only in public cloud systems. So we start here the sales order app. And once you have started it, you may open a single sales order. And then there is the option to choose from the context menu, the option Adapt UI. And this will then start this UI adaptation mode. And in that UI adaptation mode, you can do different things. You can maybe move around certain fields. That's the easiest. Or you can add fields to the UI. And here you can either choose fields that are not published by default, but that also belong to the sales order. Or what you also can do is you can even create new fields. So when you choose that, so this custom field and logic app starts, and it started in a certain so-called business context. So the context is the sales order here, And here we would start to create a field that has a label called reason. And you see it here, a little bit gray. The fields are being generated in a certain namespace, YY1 underscore. And then you can select from different types of fields you can create, be it a string or here it's the code list. And here in that case, we are able to maintain a certain value. So the reason why this sales order is created because someone likes it, the product, or it's a must-have. If we now press the create and publish button, that will then take a while. This field will be created in the UI as well in the whole stack. So in the whole OData stack, it will be added to the CDS views down to the table, finally there in an append structure, so that once once this creation process is finished, we would see a new field in our UI called reason, and here we would be allowed to select from the values we have there defined, and if we press save, this data is saved to our sales order without having modified the original sales order delivered by SAP, and that's the most important thing. So the new field reason is in the end added to the sales order app using this custom field and logic app. And what do you have to know is that the developer extensibility and key user extensibility, they can be used both. If you add such a field, it can be used in developer extensibility objects, but by default, it's not possible to mix these two extensibility options. So it's not, for example, possible to consume a custom BO that has been created by the key user tools in developer extensibility. So that's not going to work. So here we will provide here the link to the documentation that explains in more detail what access, what types of access are possible and what not. Yeah. So what else? The key user objects, they can you can even debug them with ADT, but not change them. This is because they are being generated, and if you would tap into this generated code, that would end up in a mess. So that we are now switching to the real, let's say, not real extensibility, the real, from a developer point of view, extensibility, where ADT comes into play.
Okay, thank you, Andre. And exactly. So here you see the screen. So we are still on stack. And in the developer extensibility, it's all about creating new full-fledged applications and services from scratch, or by exposing a release RAP business object interfaces, for example. You can consume local SAP APIs and use events to really integrate also the custom code and the standard the custom and the standard apps, and of course enhance also the logic of standard applications using bodies and RABIO. So you can really do what developers are used to do on premise, and create also custom APIs for remote consumption. So here in the when for applications built with the ABAP RESTful application programming model, so here we have, for example, an SAP standard applications here with the RAP business objects. Then we have the service projection, also known as a RAP business object projection, and then service definition, service binding. So this is kind of a high-level end-to-end stack of RAP business object. And for the the integration or kind of facade, we call it RAP facade. We have RAP business objects which are released then and can be used in the custom code. Here we have different scenarios, like, for example, creating a new business services. It can be from scratch, so that you define your own wrap business objects and build your applications depending on your business application requirements. But you can also go ahead and, for example, expose and enrich an wrap business object interface, a released one. Another scenario is, like said, you build your own applications with wrap or other technologies, so it can also be a non-wrap applications, and you consume the release business interfaces for the integration with the standard applications. And I would like to go to the system and give you a clear overview, short demo on that, so that to make it more concrete. So let's switch to the ABAP development tools that we have here. So here I'm in the development environment, and I'm working on a system, SAP S/4HANA Cloud systems, and I can see it here in the public cloud. I can really build full-fledged applications with the different types of objects. So it's really open database tables. Everything can be used as needed. And important, we've mentioned several times, you have to use as a developer the release extensibility extension points or APIs. And directly in the system, in your ABAP development tools, you can use the ABAP repository tree. So the standard one is release object, to have inspect and make use and find out which views are, which entities SAP standard objects are released. And here I can see my standard tree. I can see extend in cloud development, so what object that can be extended. And here below I have use in cloud development. So here I can find out all the released SAP local SAP objects. So it's important to mention the local object can be found here, and here I can go ahead, for example, and configure the repository tree according to my needs, so how I want to display it, or I can create a new one. For example, here I have a ABAP repository tree that is sorted by application composition, so that, for example, I can really find per applications component which objects are released. So here, for example, I can see here below under core data services, for example, I can see all the business definitions, whether abstract, wrap business object, or interfaces. So the S/4HANA naming conventions interfaces begin with I underscore. And for example, here the iBank TP, so the bank business object that is released. And of course, I can then also use the tool to inspect the business object. For example, here, I can inspect it with the Relation Explorer, so I can have a look at how the object is defined and which operations are provided and so on. So, and I can also check the documentation to understand how this business object, this release business object, can be used in my own development. So we have here informations about constraints, or how to call it, or for example, regarding to authorization, which authorization should be used, and so on, and some examples. So you can really find out in the system also how to use the release business object. In my case, I can also go ahead and say, maybe I want to, I've put the object here to have easy to facilitate the access. I've added to my favorites. I can say that I would like to generate all data services on top of these objects. And I can see here we have the a wizard for that in ADT. This wizard can be used on top of different objects, and there are different wizards available. So, and here on top of the release wrap business object, but it can also be used on top of a database table to generate the whole wrap stack. So here I can go ahead and generate the objects. I give the information, the package, and so I get an overview of the different artifacts that will be created here. with some name proposal. And of course, I can go ahead and edit and adapt it to my needs. So once everything is defined, so the different object that I need, I can then go ahead, click next, and I get an overview with also preview functionalities. So here about what will be generated and so on. And if everything fits, I just go ahead and and press finish. We want to hear that for time constraints, but if I click next, I will have to provide a transport request and then go ahead. So here, instead of doing that, I've already prepared a package here. And you can see everything that has been created for the extension of this class. Let me close this. So what do I get? I can also maybe open here the class, the consumption class, consumption data definition that has been built, and you can see it's built on top of the released artifact that I used here. And then I will have the possibility to enrich the consumption view to even add maybe some specific functionalities that are needed in my specific scenarios, but everything is generated, and then I have a service binding here where I can then have preview the application directly in ADT. So we have the preview, and I can here see what has been generated, and create functionality is there. And if you have the appropriate authorization, then you will be able to create. And if not, remember that we have all this information provided in the documentation. So this is an example of building building an application on top of an SAP release object. Here also I have a class here, a demo class also showing here just an example. How can I consume and the same object, the same RAP business object interface using the entity manipulation language in a program? So that means in a context even outside of the RAP context. And here I have a code, and I can then go ahead and and you can see just so I'm trying to modify the information by creating a new bank here. If I provide a number, a new ID, and just activate, and then press F9. So I can see that I'm not authorized to create a bank because I'm lacking the needed information. But if we went through the documentation carefully, then we will have seen that the privilege mode has been implemented for this RAP business object. And privilege mode means that I am able, by using this statement, to skip all these authorizations. And now I can see, okay, the new bank entity has been built. And if I look inside if I check in the application again, I should be able to see this new number here created here, 8769. So this is just an example of the consumption, and this is how you integrate your custom application with the standard application. And here I have another example before we move. For example, here I have an online shop, simple application here where, so let me just start the application. It's just a demo application, and can just create, I can order a new item. Let me just use create. The application is built with the ABAP RESTful application programming model. Let me just order everything. Let me order 10 of that. Delivery dates, yeah, it's fine. And then I can create here the object. And if everything is fine, I can now just create a purchase requisition. And just look at the information here. So in the background, the purchase is created. a purchase requisition is created, information is actualized. And here in this application, we have a custom application that is also integrated with the standard SAP purchase professional application purchase requisition app. Let me just take the number here again. And if I start the professional application, so the standard application, SAP application, I should be able to find out this new entry, so this new purchase requisition. And the application have been implemented so that behind the action, we are calling the release RAP business object interface. The appropriate one. So here, let me just navigate to that. And here you can see the purchase requisition created with my custom application is now shown here also in the standard application and can be processed further. Okay. So I think it just was about giving you an idea of how powerful and how the developer extensibility can be used. Andrea, I hand over to you.
Yep, I'm back. One moment. Okay. Yeah, so now a few slides again. So this is what Karine has shown you right here on the right-hand side. So how to create a new business service on top of a released BO interface, and how you can use EML in your code to consume a released BO interface via code, maybe in your own app or as she showed it in a normal class. So there is more about developer extensibility, and this actually is the option to extend RAP BOs that have been delivered by SAP or by partners. So it can also be used for custom BOs, but there usually the developer will add his new functionality to the very same object. But here, if we have an SAP object, we can extend the RAP business object, if it is foreseen by the developer, on various levels. So either the interface, or we can start on the RAP BO level, or we can just extend the service definition layer. So how does it work? So we can change the data model, so we can add additional fields similar to what you have seen with the key user app. We can, this is most easy to show, change the behavior of an RAP BO. So for example, we can add additional validations or determinations, or it's even possible to add additional nodes, so sub-nodes to a RAP BO. So all this can be done, and there is a lengthy extensibility guide that shows this. And yeah, I now want to show you what has to be done in order to extend the behavior. So if we have a BO data model, you see this blue stack here. That's the data model consisting of all the CDS view, and we have the behavior of our RAP BO. So that's what is delivered by SAP, for example. If we now want to make such a RAP business objects extensible, we need additional objects. We need additional objects, and this is, for example, that's the include structure where we add these additional fields. And on top of this, an extension include view, and we need an additional CDS view for the draft on top of the draft table. And when we have this, we can start to develop on top of this one. Where do I have it now? Okay, now back from PowerPoint. It's big. No. Okay, so here we have an example. So this is an extensible RAPIO. So you have, for example, if you look at the behavior definition, you find statements like this, that this is extensible. So we would be able to add an additional save. We would be able to add determinations on modify and then save, and we can change we can on the entity level, we also mark this as extensible. So that's necessary. And you see also, let's say on CDS view level, we have to add an additional annotations. So that means if you as a partner, you want to develop such extensible RAPI, or you would have to do all that. Okay, let's let's now start to extend our RAPIO. So we right-click here on the RView level, and we create a new behavior extension. So first of all, we will put this into another package, not in the package itself. So that's something what ADT always suggests. That's by default the same package, but we want to have here an additional one. So we want now to one moment. It's not, my cursor is not visible on the other screen. So we add now an extension. So that would be, we used here oct. So that's here. So we have here our so that's the extension that we are going to use, and that will be our extension. And here we also have to specify the interface. And then we can press next. So that will generate now this behavior extension. We activate this, and if we right click on here, we can create via the wizard and the class that will contain our extension. So that's quite empty. So therefore we are using this here in our extension. And now we can add here via, again, via the wizard, it will add here this class. And we also have provided for this here some sample code. All the occurrence of the free hashtags, you always have to replace with the group number, as we call it in our scripts usually. So then the code works. And what do we see here? So that's the validation. So we are reading the values of our business BO, and then we are checking whether this delivery dates met certain criteria. And if it does not, or then we will get an error. So we can now navigate here to our we have here our original application. We can start the service binding here and check the preview. So as you see here, that's let's say a naked application. We don't have anything, so we can here select something, and create something. But now you see it has added a validation. So we have to use a delivery date which is far away in the future. And then it works. So our validation has worked. We could even here put a breakpoint and then check what the thing does. So that's basically it. You see it here. What you can also do. I won't do. You would be able to add different service determination. So, and this should basically show what you can all do with the with doing this. So, next step would be to so we have now seen we can extend the behavior by creating behavior extensions, but it's also possible to add additional fields. And as you see here, if it comes to add additional fields, so that's quite a big thing. You have to create all these objects manually, usually in the past. Now there is a wizard for that will create all these objects for you, and that would then allow you to add a field to your business object. So that's that's the next exercise. So here you will add the you will add here these objects, and we add this here using the field extensibility wizard. And this is started here. You just right-click on the C view layer and choose this generate ABAP repository objects. So if we are going back to our Eclipse, our original object, we right-click here on the data definition, generate repository objects, and we choose here the extension fields. Package would be our package where we have put our extension in it, not the same package where our object resides on. We can now add a field. So that could be here a field, let's say call it remark. Remark, data element, data element could be text 100. So we are only allowed here to use data elements. It would also be possible to add a semantic type. We're not going to do this. And important here is we also want to generate the UI annotations, because only if we check that, the annotations will be added so that this additional field becomes visible. So we add this. And then we can see here that these objects will be generated. And we see here that our C layer object will also be extended. Press next. Again, asked, okay, this will be the last stuff all the stuff that will be generated. This now takes a few seconds or maybe minute, right? Because all these objects have to be created. Okay. Now we can here have a look in our package. We see here all these objects that have been created by our remark field here. And if we now start the service binding again, you will see we have now a field remark, whereas in the old, let's say, that's the old version, we don't have it yet there, but here we have now an additional remark field, and we can create even something in and put it in. And okay, we would have to choose that. Can create this and see that the remark has been saved in addition to the rest of our original BO. Yeah, then switch back to Karin. Yeah. So the last thing what you can do is doing a side-by-side extension. So that would be something that's where you would build an app side by side. So that's the use case of a loosely coupled integration. For example, you want to build applications where you would like to have users that you don't want to have on your ERP system itself. So then you can use the SAP Business Technology Platform for that. And especially, it's also possible to use such side-by-side applications using the the ABAP environment. So, and what is the positioning there? So that can be used for educational purposes. So because you can there learn the latest and the greatest that the ABAP stack can bring to the table. So for customers, you can build, as I said, these loosely coupled applications that would then extend your S/4HANA or even other SAP solutions. For partners, is of interest because you can build multi-tenancy applications. So that you build one application and sell it then to different customers. And we at SAP, last not least, we are using our own stack. We have shipped several products now already on top of the sub BTP ABAP environment. And yeah, so we are using our own stuff for that. And it was also, let's say, yeah, something, not a learning. So the BTP ABAP environment was the first of this out that allowed us then finally also to have this ABAP environment in S/4HANA Cloud, which is then on the same stack. So you can have this, if you want to try this out, really try out in free tier. So, and if you have built then something with free tier, this free offering for a certain time, then you can convert this into yeah, into a productive system. And yeah, there are more indirect customers that use the Steampunk than there. These are the ones that are based on our products. So the wrap up is that the extensibility is, yeah, is something crucial because that's what customers always want to have. So they want to extend their systems because yeah, they want to add some functionality that is maybe not part of the standard. And that you can do this now on stack. So even in ABAP, in SAP S/4HANA Cloud, you can build on stack applications, but you can also do side-by-side applications. So that's these two options you have. And if you don't want to code that much, we offer the option to let you use the key user tools. So these are also directly on stack, but as shown, it's the use of low-code tools or no-code tools, Fiori-based tools that can be started directly on the stack and generate something there. And the whole extensibility stuff uses the ABAP Cloud development model, and therefore it does not harm your system with regards to upgrade stability. So these are no modifications. So these are extensions that do not have any problem when upgrading those systems. So that's this ABAP Cloud model. So that allows you to build not services, apps, and everything. So and this is clean core. So clean core is not restricted just to side-by-side extensions. We can also do this on the same stack as well. Yeah, and it can be used in S/4HANA and with BTP, and can be used in public as well, in private cloud, and even on premise. Yeah. Then we have added to our presentation later on for you, if you download this, more information about the tools and server information that we have shown here. Karim, you wanted to take over?
maybe something we want to draw your attention to is the SAP application extension methodology, which provide. Kannst du navigieren, bitte? So maybe just a second before we close. Sorry, we are a bit over the time. So we want to draw your attention to the application extension methodology, which gives you a structured and technology independent approach to help you define and execute an enterprise extension strategy for your organization. So please follow the link. We will also provide this slide as part of this presentation and have a look at it. So it's a very comprehensive approach and yeah, with different phases as shown in the screenshots. We also want to draw your attention to the various sessions, ABAP related sessions that will be offered throughout the events at Devtoberfest by SAP TechEd 2024, and also at ABAP Cloud related sessions that will be offered during the SAP-TechEd virtual in 2 weeks, I think, so almost so. So again, thank you very much for your attention, and sorry that we had a bit delay. So, but thank you very much and for staying with us till here. Feel free to contact us in the SAP community. We are active there. If you have follow-up questions, or even drop them in the community area of this session. So we will be checking on that and reply to your open questions. So feel free to contact us there. Thank you very much, and I give over to you, Shilpa.
Thank you, Karine and Andre, for an intensive, wonderful session. And extensibility is one of the interesting topic, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. We had good discussions in the chat as well. And as you already mentioned, people watching replay, they can put the questions in the comments as well as in the YouTube link. Just to remind everyone, the validation tutorial about this session will be available at the end of the day. So see you again in the next session. Thank you, everyone.